What's good, my good people? What's good, what's good, what's good, what's good? You know what it is, Real Talk Radio with your host G. I hope you guys have had a productive week and a restful weekend, and I'd just like to welcome you all to this episode of Soul Awakening Sunday. I've titled this episode Demons and Unclean Spirits. So the inspiration behind this title came from a reflection on this idea of being possessed by demons and unclean spirits. And if we take the Bible, we see many instances in which Jesus and his disciples cast out demons and unclean spirits from people. And we can take it in the literal sense that people were indeed possessed by demons. But if we take a step back and kind of analyze what these demons and unclean spirits are, we find that they aren't always existential, I hope I pronounced that correctly, elements or, beings, if I may call them. Sometimes we kind of really need to reflect on, what our demons or what our unclean spirits are. We can't always try and run behind the fact or the idea that demons are, solely spiritual, if I may call, entities. But I think if we just, come back down to earth and do an introspection, we find that our bad habits, our egos, and anything that really doesn't serve us well in our lives, and anything that kind of prevents us from being better human beings, are what we could classify as our demons and our unclean spirits. And I think in a world where there are so many influences and we're taken up by material things, we find that our spirits, our souls are heavily imprisoned or in the clutches of evil, and again, we don't have to take these things to the extreme, but I guess it's a point of introspection for each and every one of us to identify the aspects of our lives that are really holding us back from being spiritually connected to one another. And again, like I said, demons don't have to be these, great spiritual beings or spiritual entities from what people probably would call hell or whatever the case may be. I think if we look again at addiction or even mental health disorders, those could be the closest thing that we have to this idea of being possessed by demons and unclean spirits. And again, these are things or habits that we have or that we develop over time that inhibit us from growing spiritually, because again, it's a thing of we're taken by worldly pleasures, worldly desires, and we forget the importance of preserving the dignity and purity of our souls. And again, these things run deep and can be classified as literally anything. It's just a matter of us identifying what our demons and unclean spirits are and slowly work towards casting them out. And as I've said, they come or manifest themselves in different forms. And I guess, like I said, mental health disorders, not that, people with mental health disorders are bad people, but those kind of things kind of hold us back from living, carefree lives. They torment us and just put us in a state of distress. And today I'd just like to pray for healing over people who suffer from various mental health disorders, as well as people who, suffer from different addictions. And not only that, but I'd also like to pray for people who bring light and healing into their lives, because I guess they could be likened to Jesus and his disciples who were casting out these demons. And I think sometimes in our lives, in order to get rid of these demons, we need to humanize them. And by that, I mean we literally need, I know this sounds crazy, but we literally need to find a way of making them human and giving them a certain degree of dignity and respect in order for us to be able to rationalize with them and then later work towards eliminating them in our lives. And I think that's why people need to go through rehabilitation and counseling, so they can work towards humanizing these so-called demons and unclean spirits, and then obviously progress towards letting go and kind of freeing themselves from them. So to all the people who bring light and healing into the lives of others and who help them work through detaching themselves from their demons and unclean spirits, I pray for blessing over your lives, and that you continue bringing this wonderful light of healing into the lives of others. And for people who suffer from mental health disorders, any sort of addiction, and people who don't have enough love in their hearts to let go of their egos, I pray for healing over them as well, that they may eventually see the light or have someone bring them the eternal light that will finally free them from these attachments to things that really stunt or hinder their spiritual growth. So as we close off this week and start the new week, I pray that you are enabled the power and the strength to reflect upon your lives and slowly work towards detaching yourselves of the things that really do not serve you good, or the things that do not allow you to progress forward in your spirituality.